Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Wow.
Guys, I did like a ton of push-ups. For real. I'm not out of shape. I'm trying to get back into shape, all right? Push-ups every day. Preemptive like, they were linked to the original video, top of the description. Dan Snow, love him. My favorite history host. And we're doing it. My right arm really hurts. Overworked. I'm trying to say I'm trying to get back into working out. All right, I'm there. Irrelevant. Link to the original video, top of the description from a history hit. My name's Connor. If you're new, let's learn. How did Roman army eat? Let's go.
Hard as rock. Lasts forever. Wow, an aftertaste hits the back of your throat very hard indeed. Why would you do that? It's just grim.
Biggest.
Salve, I'm Dan Snow, and I've just had a busy day civilizing the natives here in the Roman province of Britannia. And today I'm going to be eating a typical meal provided to a Roman officer in that army of occupation. Let's get into the eating position.
I'm in frame, right, guys? Yes. My hair, every time I get out of the shower, my hair gets super poofy. Just good. Let's go.
The ancient Romans originally came from Rome, but they ruled over a vast empire that stretched way beyond that city or even the confines of Italy. The Roman Empire covered land from the Middle East, North Africa, all around the Mediterranean, into North and West Europe, and even parts of Great Britain from 43 AD till around 410. And as they won more battles and conquered more lands, the empire got bigger. Now,
was there any attempts to conquer Ireland as well, or no?
Counting auxiliary soldiers, won more battles and conquered more lands, the empire got bigger. Now, counting auxiliary soldiers, there could have been around 1 million men in the Roman army. The life of a Roman soldier was tough. They had to endure hostile natives who were defending their homelands from invasion or occupation. They had to undertake grueling marches across rough and dangerous terrain. They had to deal with severe weather, lack of food, arduous battles. To survive all that, the Romans needed a hearty diet. A lot of what we know about that Roman diet comes from something called the Codex Theodosianus, a compilation of Roman laws published in 438. It stated that during expeditions, a Roman soldier should be supplied with bucellatum ac panem vinum, quoque atque atticum, sed et laridum carnem verbecianum, or hardtack
Loudest bread.
and bread, wine too, and vinegar, but also bacon and mutton. So today I'm eating hardtack biscuits, a refreshing drink of Posca, wild boar, some mashed parsnip, bacon, a delicious slice of cheese.
Red wine and vinegar? Or red wine vinegar is a thing. Okay.
Some mashed parsnip, bacon, a delicious slice of cheese. Hardtack biscuits was the staple. A simple biscuit that was very, very hard. It's made from flour, salt, and water. Hard as rock.
No
Lasts
moisture.
forever. Baked twice at very low temperatures. The great thing about this is you can cook a lot of this in your main base and then send it out with the army if it goes on a long campaign. And it'll last for months, even years.
I'm sure if you had like some sort of stew you were able to make, and then you put some like 1 or 2 of the hardtacks, like break it up if you can and put it in the stew, and I'm sure it would soft it and act like a crouton.
If you send out bread, it will go stale and moldy. If you send out flour, it'll spoil, especially in this damp British climate. So hardtack is your carbohydrates. This tastes like you're eating a bit of stone. And so one of the great pastimes of the Roman army was find something to dip this in, whether it's a drink or some stew, anything to make this staple a little bit more exciting. The Latin name for this was bucellatum, biscuit. And Roman soldiers became so synonymous with this, they became known as bucellari, which means biscuit eaters. The Romans are famous drinking wine, but in Britain, soldiers probably would have had something called Posca. This delicious drink here, let's test it out. That, if anything, has made the biscuit even less edible.
I love.
If anything,
Sorry, I had the coughs. I love how Dan Snow is just lounging on this Roman style thing with the blanket and the armor. It's hilarious. Reminds me of the Monty Python.
anything has made the biscuit even less edible. Posca is made by mixing wine with vinegar, with water, and with honey. Why would you do that?
Salad dressing.
It's just grim. Posca gets a lot of mentions in the Roman sources. Pliny the Elder talks about it. A playwright called Plautus mentions it a few times. And also, it's clear that drinking Posca, like sharing a Posca with someone, was a way that emperors, generals, senior commanders could show that they had the common touch. They weren't scared to rub shoulders with the ordinary men serving in the front line. One account says that the Emperor Hadrian actually led a soldier's life and cheerfully ate out of doors.
Built a wall.
Such camp fare as bacon, cheese, and vinegar.
And the Scottish will pay for the wall. Oh my god, this is why I don't wait to pause. Come on.
They had proper soldiers serving showed they had the common Posca with a few common sources. Pliny the Elder talks about it. A playwright called Plautus mentions it a few times. It's just grim. Vinegar with water.
Oh yeah. Did you guys, oh my god, it's such a stupid comment. Now I feel bad for. Did you guys know that gasoline or petrol has an enormous amount of calories? Like an insane amount of calories are in gasoline or petrol. That doesn't mean you should drink it because you'll die. But I just thought that was really interesting how gasoline is just very caloric. If you were to ingest it, you'd be very full and then die.
A few times. And also, it's actually led a rations when he got home that night. Cheese and vinegar.
My arm hurts.
I bet he had proper rations when he got home that night. The vinegar in the water, apparently, well, its sharpness would have helped disguise the taste of bad water. The acidity would have helped to kill bacteria, apparently. And according to a recent study, vinegar makes you feel more full. Hunger would have been a common complaint of Roman soldiers serving on campaigns. So vinegar makes them feel a bit more full. No wonder they add it to their wine. Wow.
You guys ever drink like I find that if I'm really hungry but I don't want to eat just yet, that like, you know, seltzer or, you know, sparkling water, carbonated water, you know what I mean, is really good because it clears, like it makes you like burp or whatnot and clears a lot of the gases that are in your stomach. And I feel like that kind of calms the hunger.
Aftertaste hits the back of your throat very hard indeed. Posca even gets mentioned in the Bible during one of the most famous stories of all time, when Jesus is up there on the cross. Matthew writes in his account of that terrible day, immediately one of them ran, and taking a sponge, he filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave him a drink. Oh. Roman soldiers would have eaten meat whenever they get their hands on it. And we got good evidence of that from the Vindolanda tablets. These wonderful written sources found at a fort on Hadrian's Wall in northern Britain. They talk about the food eaten by the army stationed up there, particularly what the commanding officer would have eaten. Guy like me. And the answer is a lot of venison and wild boar. Let's check this out. Not too bad. Like pork, but a bit more gamey. Now we know from archaeology carried out at Roman military sites right across Northern Europe that plenty of bones have been found. And from that analysis we can tell the Romans ate ox, sheep, goat, pig, deer, boar and hare in most places. Anything they get their hands on. They've even found evidence that they were eating elk, wolf, fox, badger, beaver, bears, voles, ibexes.
I hear it's kind of risky to eat bear meat or anything that has a large, like a carnivore diet. Not to say that bears eat only, other than polar bears, they're, you know, omnivores, but that they can have a lot of parasites and just not great time. Also, it was something really stupid, but aren't pigs and boars the same thing? Like, if a pig escapes into the wild, is it now a boar? Or, never had sheep, never had goat. I've had pig, never had deer. I'd like to expand my meat, tasting. Not, that came out. Jesus Christ, I'm a freaking child. Meat, I want to expand my meat tasting. My palate. Frickin'
Get their hands on. They've even found evidence that they were eating elk, wolf, fox, badger, beaver, bears, voles, ibexes, and otters. What otter tastes like?
Oh my God.
While officers like me were eating delicious treats like wild boar and the other meats they get their hands on, typical Roman soldiers probably had to make do with a lot of these vegetables. I like mushy vegetables, but if I was going to go and do a shift standing on Hadrian's Wall in a snowstorm, having spears thrown at me, I might want something a little bit more substantial in my stomach. I do like parsnip, to be fair, and I'm not alone. The Roman Emperor Tiberius was so fond of parsnips, he imported them all the way from Germany across the Alps into Rome. And he even accepted parsnips as tribute payments instead of gold from Germanic tribes. Now, according to the author Pliny, parsnips are also useful in warding off snakes and as an aphrodisiac. Wouldn't go that far, not really feeling it, but it's delicious. And it comes from a Roman recipe book put together in the 5th century. It's called the Apicius. And this recipe tells us to mash the parsnips, then add cumin, rue, liquamen, passum,
Viagra,
oil, coriander leaves, and leeks. Serve. Goes well with salt pork. I don't need salt pork with me today, but I have the next best thing, which is, of course, bacon, which, let's be honest, goes well with anything. It was very accessible to Roman soldiers, bacon, because it was cured with salt, and therefore it would keep well, and you could take it on campaign, and it wouldn't spoil. Delicious. Salt was so valuable to Roman soldiers because it allowed them to preserve their food, and they were sometimes paid in salt instead of money. That monthly allowance became known as a salarium.
Guys, hasn't salt been an extremely abundant resource since ancient times? So wouldn't it have been really easy to come across as far as things that have to be mined or taken from the sea? Kind of, you know?
Sal being the Latin word for salt. And that's where we get the modern word salary.
Really?
Ah, cheese. Who doesn't love a good bit of cheese? Well, the Romans certainly did. It's one of the things they introduced to Britain, alongside the mixed blessings of central government, gladiatorial combat, underfloor heating, taxation, sewers. But the cheese, we can all agree, was a benefit to Britain. And Roman legionaries brought those cheese-making skills to this occupied territory. So I think we can forgive them a lot in return for the cheese. Now, the Romans traded different kinds of cheeses all over their empire, and we even know the name of the first identifiable cheese brand. It was called La Luna, the moon. So it shows that the association between the moon and cheese goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. And it's not surprising they were so familiar with cheese, because Roman soldiers would largely have been raised in rural communities on farms. They knew the process of cheese making very well. So wherever they ended up, they could settle down and start making some local cheese. The Romans were just really good at making cheese. Pliny says, in a rather arrogant way, it is a remarkable circumstance that the barbarous nations which subsist on milk for so long have been for so many ages either ignorant of the merits of cheese or have totally disregarded them. Like everything the Roman army did, it was obsessed with victory, with winning. And that really dictated how it dealt with its food. All this food is easy to store, it's pretty easy to carry with you, and it doesn't spoil. It gave the army a huge advantage. They could campaign a long way from their base for long periods of time, while the other side would run out of food and have to disperse and go and find it. That meant the Roman army would be victorious across huge swathes of North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe.
Guys, isn't it crazy how think about that there have actually been times, and I'm sure, unfortunately, probably happen in the future. I don't know when, but there have been times in history where decades, maybe centuries, where there have actually been society. I'm talking mainly about like Western civilization, Europe, Mediterranean countries, right? Where there have been points where people who lived decades, centuries, a few centuries before you were actually more capable and advanced in a lot of their technology, and capable in their military and their strategy and political structure, and just know-how and a lot of infrastructure and just regulating society, civilians in a large society, that I can think of probably happened after the Bronze Age collapse, sea people, and after the fall of Roman Empire, where would you agree that the height of the Roman Empire, I don't know what you want to call it, like 100 AD or something, like 50 to 150 AD, maybe, someone can tell me, where those people could probably have defeated and had no more know-how militarily and economically in terms of infrastructure and building than people that they would face centuries in the future after the Roman collapse. Like, imagine living in a time where people in the past might have been more capable and advanced than you. And that must have been so strange. Tell me if I'm wrong there. Maybe not in some cases, but that's crazy to think about, in my opinion.
They could build villas like this one reconstructed here at Butser Ancient Farm in Britain. Thanks for joining me, folks. If you've enjoyed watching, please click on any of the videos on this screen for more delicious content.
Great video as always. Love Dan Snow. Love History Hit videos. He's my favorite host, and he was hilarious and very in character, hilarious in this video in particular. So hope you guys are doing well. Would appreciate any comments. Hope you learned something or can teach me something, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye, guys.